And a very good morning to you. My name is Daniel Wahome and welcome to Sports Check on this Monday morning. It is the 26th day of April 2021. It is a day when the Senate Legal Committee will be handing over the BBI report, and this is to the Honorable Speaker Ken Lusaka, and this is at Parliament Buildings. That function is expected to start at around now. It's supposed to be going on now. Once we get pictures from Parliament Buildings, we shall be giving them to you for that broadcast. But also today, we shall be having conversations around sport, and there are four talking points today. Number one, we'll be talking about wheelchair tennis. Remember that Kenya's wheelchair tennis team will be leaving for Portugal next week, and they will be taking part at the Villamura Open and also at the BNP World Team Qualification, and that is from the 5th to the 8th of May and the 9th to the 14th of May respectively. Over the weekend, we had the Equator Rally, which was a dry run for the WRC Safari Rally. We'll be talking to Abdul Sidi later today to give us a review of how the action went down and the observations that have been made and how Kenya will now touch up to make sure that they're ready for June 24th to the 27th when we've got the Safari Rally. Malkia strikers are in camp. Our reporter Fred Mwoki is going to Kasarani and he will be speaking with Coach Paul Bitok and also the Brazilian staff who have been seconded by the FIVB, that's the International Volleyball Federation. And as the Malkia strikers prepare for the Olympics, Athletics Kenya have got a briefing, and this is about the World Relays taking place in Silesia, Poland. That is coming up at around 11 a.m. Also, we'll be having a conversation with our football data analyst, John Agreotieno. The conversation is about, Michael Olunga, the phenomenon, provisions that have been made by the Confederation of African Football, $1 billion for infrastructure, and also there is a conversation about schools and how they can be used as a way to have age-grade football. There is also the Bandes, that is a European Super League, and everything that's happening around the interclub competitions in Africa. My name is Daniel Wahome. Our sign language interpreter this morning is Lensa Odingo. Let's get going and straight into the first conversation, and it is about the Paralympics qualification for the Tokyo Games that will be taking part between the 24th of August and the 5th of September 2021. One of the teams that wants to represent the country is a wheelchair tennis team. And joining us on Zoom from their bubble camp, our head coach Peter Rakuom and wheelchair tennis sensation Jane Ndenga. Jane and Peter, a very good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, first, let's talk about the bubble camp. And Coach Peter, you are the person who has been tasked a lot with this particular, arrangement and ensuring that the team does stick to the rules of the camp. Peter, you could tell us about the constitution of this bubble camp and the regulations that are in there, knowing that you're living in COVID times.
Yes. The bubble camp is just a new one. I can say it's the new normal because we've not been used to this. At the moment now, we are just at a camp with all the players. And at the moment, with different players from different countries, we've not yet mixed until now, until we get the affirmative test, which should be 4 days prior. That's when we'll mix. So for us, it is, yes, a new normal, but we are working hard day and night. So for the moment, at the moment, for us, we have different times of training so that all the players can get quality practice and be prepared well.
Now, Peter, you've mentioned about players from different countries. We know that wheelchair tennis has got a big foothold down in Mombasa, in the coastal region. So tell us how you're managing the training programs for the wheelchair players who are from, especially those who are based in Mombasa, vis-a-vis those who are based in Nairobi.
Yes. Actually, is that we have two coaches. So I have a fellow. So he deals with the team that is from Mombasa, and while I deal with the team that is in Nairobi. That's how we've
All right. Now, Jane, you are based in Nairobi. Let me come to you. And you could tell us about your activities so far and your training program as you prepare for the Vilamura Open and also for the World Team Cup qualifiers.
Yeah, thank you so much, Daniel, for inviting us. And I just want to tell you that we've been the team from Mombasa that has been training. And since our president locked us down, it has been a little bit harder, but we tried to look for venues that can accommodate us. We just requested with a written document that we go there and train before we join together at the camp, which the Mombasa team were training at Florida Hotel. And here in Nairobi, like for instance, we train at Terrain Gardens in Karen, where one of our tennis council member offered to give us his home, where we come, we train from 11 to 2 p.m. We leave the places. So it was a little bit well organized by Tennis Kenya that we don't just sit at home, we must train. So that has really a good move for us from Tennis Kenya. Again, what we have been doing as before, we were given the go-ahead to train in different areas. At home, like you do personal trainings, like you can do TheraBand, you can use anything in the house, even chairs, lifting weights, and as you can see, my shoulder, I've been working on the gym a lot. So it has really helped, so we thank God for that.
And for you, Jane, we know that with the cessation of sport, then one of the requirements is that sports people stay apart. What first kind of facilitation and the process has been there to ensure that at least you can get some kind of playing time as you prepare for the competitions that are coming up in Portugal?
Yeah, like right now, as Coach Rakuom said, we, like Tennis Kenya, with our noble government, they set up guidelines. Like for instance, Nairobi Mombasa team, when they arrived, we've not trained together since last week. So we've been separated. We train in different courts, but we have courts. They train in another court, we train in different courts. They don't use the same balls that we are using. They don't touch anything that every team or every athlete, you don't borrow or you don't use anyone's equipment. You just make sure you have enough that are yours. The moment you are given, like this is your wheelchair, this is your racket, these are your strings, these are your wrap, those are yours. Permanently they're yours, you don't need to share them. Even meals, we don't sit like the way Coach Rakuom said, a new normal. We used to serve, we used to laugh together, but this time, if you go to the restaurant after taking your meals, just disappear. Go to your room, lock yourself there, until when we are told you're going to the court, you go separately, then that's how it has been done. So far, that's how we are doing it.
Now, Coach Rakuom, let me come to you, and I want to talk about preparing the team for the Vilamura Open that takes place from the 5th to the 8th of May. That is an event that you're taking part in, and looking at that event, it's 16 men, 16 women. Kenya is one of the teams that is participating. How then do you go about selecting your singles teams for this event?
Yes, the best thing about this event is that every player gets their own rankings. And according to the rules of the qualification, we have until 7th of June before they close the rankings, and then they can choose the teams to Paralympics. So for now, all the players that are in camp are the top players in the country, and not only in the country, but in East and Central Africa. So these players, we believe that with their hard work, they can all qualify. So it's all about getting those points during the first event and the second event also. If they have enough points, for sure, we'll qualify.
So let me now talk about the Paralympic qualification criteria that has been put out And this is for every National Paralympic Committee. They can enter a maximum of 4 qualified male athletes and 4 qualified female athletes. And we know that the Asian Para Games already have provided 4. And the Pan American Para Games have provided 4, 2 male athletes and 2 female athletes respectively. So for the top 40 ranking in the world, what needs to be done for Jane and her colleagues in the women's team and also in the men's team?
The best thing that, as we've said, yes, in Africa we've always been last in event management, on all those things. Most of the time we find most of our players don't go attend so many tournaments. Yes, so for now, though we might be saying COVID has pulled us down, but in another way it has also leveled the playing field for all these players. And I believe with more tournaments, because they say we are all playing the same tournaments, so all these other top players also are coming to the same events, and I believe in our players that we can do wonders. They can play well and they can get those points. It's all about breaking into the top 4.
So here we are. Now you can actually now talk about your team, Jane Ndenga, who's with us. You can start with Jane, then move on to Phoebe Masika, Elizabeth Njoki, and Rahel Akoth.
Yes. Jane at the moment, she's the top player, top female player in East and Central Africa. And we've been training with her, and she's been working hard. And with all these players, we've been engaging them even during the lockdown. They've been doing their own stuff at home, and we believe now they can do, they can perform well. So for Jane, I've got no doubt she'll be a perfect example of what do you call? A perfect example of how resilient she can be if she wants something. Then we have Joki. She's been playing. She's in USA. So we are hoping that she joins at Villamor for the tournament. And we've been catching up with each other, but she has a club there who, at least even the people who are there, they've been supporting her. So I believe she can also do some things. Here, she's been working hard, though most of the time with this lockdown and here, but she's been working hard. Kabasa, we have Asia, Phoebe, Rajab Abdallah, we have Peter Munuve and Shaban Warioba. They've all been working hard under Coach Lawrence Karanja, and for sure those guys have been doing more than sometimes we imagine. Because even us, when we were on lockdown, they managed to find a place to train before even us we started. So for us in Nairobi, we went the second week, while them they had already started the first week. Then we have Collins Omondi, who's the top Kenyan and also East African player. So Collins is from Nairobi, and we've been working hard together with Jen to train. And with what I'm seeing, I'm happy.
So,
yes.
Coach Rakuom, let's now talk about the competition that you expect in Villamura when you go out there for the World Team Cup qualification, because it's 2 events that you're looking at. 1, the Paralympic Games, and 2, the World Team Cup qualifications. The kind of competition you'll expect in Europe.
Yeah, I expect my players to work hard, because hard pays. So there's nothing like people give you maybe the slot on a silver platter. But for now, it is about working hard, and with what we see, For example, now we have the player who's from England. He might be there. So it is also a very good experience, them playing each other. So I just told my players, we have nothing to lose, but we have everything to gain. We have games for the 4 slots. So for them, it is all about whatever challenge that we have, we are good to go.
All right, Coach Peter Rakuom, who is leading the wheelchair team that is preparing for the Villamoura Open and also for the BNP World Team Qualification. Those 2 events will be taking place in Portugal, and the dates are 5th to the 8th for the Villamoura Open, and then you've got the 9th to the 14th for the World Team Qualification. Jane, let me come to you, and for you as an athlete, the prospects of representing the country at the Paralympic Games in Tokyo from the 24th of August through to the 5th of September, what they mean to you and how you intend to ensure that you don Kenya's kit.
Thank you so much, Daniel. You know, in all athletes' goals, yes, and one of the goals that is one day play at Paralympic Games or the 3 Commonwealth Games, African Games, Olympics. So this is a very important year for us, and especially those athletes that have really worked hard. Like, for instance, it was to be last year, but now you know it has really helped other athletes that didn't qualify last year. All the things, you know, last year we could already, the time already ran, didn't have enough to get this qualification hosted in a country that we needed, like Portugal. Like they were saying, now with the corona, we can't do this, we'll have to push it forward. Even those people who were already qualified last year, all the qualifications were cancelled. So I always say, and I always believe in God, that everything that you ask him or anything that you desired in your heart, he will always give you. For number one, the reason why I say that is we always, as a wheelchair tennis, will always desire to play at Paralympic Games. But now this is an opportunity that we need to work hard for, and we have to work extra hard, just the way Coach Rakuom has said, that we always train, but you don't just train. You train learning something new that you can use to win your opponent. That's what you are doing right now. Like tennis is a mind game. If you can't use your mind properly, and wheeling, those 2, mind game and wheeling your wheelchair, because your wheelchair is your leg. Right now, as the Paralympic, we are doing anything that we can to win those tournaments. Because with wheelchair tennis, it's simple. You only need points. Like, for instance, I'm ranked top 100 right now, and I know if I play Villamoura and I win that tournament, let's say I win it, which I believe I do, because it's part of the first pre-match to qualify. If I win or I reach, just say I reach finals, the points that I will get there will bring me back to like 60-something. I play BNB World Team Cup. I reach again, let's just assume that again I reach even quarters. I'm already qualified. So that's how you calculate how you are going to work on it. You don't just go as an athlete from wheelchair tennis. We are going. No, you don't go with the waves. You just don't go. You go calculating every point that you win. We work with points, and that's how we are praying, and we are just trusting the Lord that has started this journey with us, that He will accomplish what He has started in us. We are not just training. We are training with God, with us. Even God says. People always translate this that God says to help those who help themselves, though they say yes, but even you have to work hard for God to help you. So we are, as much as we are trusting the Lord, we are also trusting that we perform well to please the Lord that has started this journey with us. Yeah.
Now, Jen, let me talk about Villamoura now. In Kenya, most of our tennis courts are maram courts. I wouldn't go ahead and call them clay courts, but in Villamoura, you'll be playing on hard courts. Tell us about the difference in surfaces, and if the wheelchair you use, you may need to change, say, the kind of wheels that you've got, or you've got to change the way you move around with your wheelchair on the court.
Yes. Good question. With this that are not with the coach regulator. The tires that are, let's say, Kenyan tires, zile zenye ziko na nguvu nguvu. So now we've changed the tires. You see these tires?
Yes, I can see them.
Tires of the court. These are the tires that now we are using. Yeah, these are the tires that now we've changed. You see the smaller size of the tire?
I can see that.
Every athlete has these tires. We've changed them because of the surface. Yeah, because of the surface. This one you can't use at Nairobi. Can use it. We put in place that we starting the wheels. Because wheels, if you don't have good wheels, it's your leg already failed. You have to make sure that your muscles, legs, because the bones are working well. That is, you pump your wheelchair, good wheels, the tires are well, the tires are in good condition. So that's number one. We went to Karen to train at Torrent Gardens. Torrent Gardens is a hard court. Now, when the government, where the Tennis Kenya, the government has said it's Kasarani, it's KSMS, it's EU. And then when Tennis Kenya asked for the government after the approval of the budget, they were asked, where are you taking your players? Because these are the places that we've said all the players will go there for bubble. Then Tennis Kenya said, Questa, Kotiko or Quinsa, Kotiko, they didn't have a court. So number two has the court, and to our advantage, they are hard court. So the government said yes, but now if it's done 6,500, you have to add your own expenses. Again, now it helps, and now we are here, we are training well.
All right, now let me come to Coach Peter Rakuom. I saw you laughing when I mentioned about the wheels, and thank you, Jane, for showing us the wheels. We can see that they are quite smooth. If you are to use them on a Maram court, I don't think you would move anywhere. Tell us about the difference in approach, Coach, about how someone plays on Maram, like we have got here in Kenya, and playing on a high-level hard court that you will find in Villamura, and the kind of courts that you will see being used at the Paralympic Games and also at the World Team Cup competition in Italy.
In Portugal?
Yeah, the
yes.
Team Cup qualification in Portugal, and then...
Yeah.
So, Coach
Let me start
Peter,
with the one at Nairobi Club. That's clay.
Yes.
So when Jane, our wheelchair tennis in Kenya have been training at clay court. So when you are going to a tournament, number one, what you have to know is which surface, which kind of surface am I playing? Am I going to play in? That one is number one in your list. So you have to change the environment where you are training. When you go to the tournament, already adjusted to the court that you want to train to. Then to preposition, train in. What walienda shule, vizuri school, group of schools, train in. So, and then now, that's why you see Tennis Kenya has organized hard court. But the Paralympic courts, trust me, those are the high standard courts. Pale unafikiaga unamwambia Jesus Christ nimefika. I have reached, I have arrived. Because the court itself, inakufanyia panic, inakupatia panic. Have you ever seen something mpaka ukasema, is it me playing in this court? That is now Paralympic court. They are made in a way that they are carpeted, they are very nice, and they're very comfortable. Even for our wheelchairs, they move very well. And the way they're even motivation, I've not talked to you about the difference between now different wheelchairs we are going to meet. There are different wheelchairs that we are going to meet out there during this tournament we are facing. Kenyan team, they are using motivation. The wheelchairs that we were given 10 years ago, which are for starters, those are the wheelchairs that we're still using. But when we go to these tournaments, we are going to meet people that have made they've made their wheelchairs, like we have Mercedes-Benz, we have Pajeros, and they are written on those wheelchairs, on their wheels. And they are very fast. So they are made in a way that they fit to their own bodies. They maintain it according to their body size, and they move like they are walking. Those are the kind of people you are going to meet. But sisi ndio nani? We always qualify, they play against us, and we win. So God see mutu, God anaonanga mtu na anambeba tu juu. So bado with our own motivation, we are encouraged that we are going to do better, competing bicycle and Mercedes-Benz. So we are still there. Yeah.
if I can add something on that.
Yes, Coach Rakuom, please do add, because first there's a question I had asked, and I want you to talk about the difference of playing on Maram courts and playing on a hard court from now the coaching perspective, before you add on to, about the different brands of wheelchairs and as Jane has described them.
Okay, well, we have different surfaces for different events. So for now, we have the tournament that is in Portugal is going to be played on hard court. So you see, like, even movement-wise on a clay and the hard court, those are two different things. That's number two. Even the ball bounce is way different. Like on clay court, the ball bounce is a bit slower, so you have more times to hit the ball. But on a clay court, you really have to work harder. Those are the two major differences. So movement and ball. Now, with our players, we had to always find the correct temperature, the correct court or surface where we're gonna play. We try and adapt as much as possible, so that once you're there, when they're playing, they don't find much difference. Yes, we really thank God for everything, because God uses what you have. That's what most of the time God uses, and God can uplift anyone, anytime. It doesn't matter whether those guys have better wheelchairs than us, but what God gives us, we really appreciate with whatever God does to us. So those are the two major things. And when I know Kenya is a God-fearing country, and we can do wonders with God on our side. And now the difference wheelchairs, like we have wheelchairs which are almost at or $10,000 prizes. So it all depends with who you have and where you are. In Kenya at the moment, we find like we have different wheelchairs, but for tennis we are still using motivation that were donated to us. So we need more stakeholders to team up with Tennis Kenya to support the cause, so that these players, because it's all about breaking into the top 10 or top 40. These players, I believe, with the proper wheelchairs, they can even reach top 10. Because last event that we played against South Africa, who have the top 5 female and top 10 male players in the world, even themselves, they were shocked, because we gave them a run for their money. They really had to work hard to even win against Kenya. They were amazed on how these guys were moving with these wheelchairs. So now imagine if we get better wheelchairs, what happens? So Tennis Kenya has really worked hard, and they've been looking for stakeholders here and there. And I believe with more people willing to assist, for sure, tennis will go up. Not only wheelchair tennis, but tennis in general. Yes.
Now, let me come to you for about the qualification for the Paralympics and the technical details. And let me make a direct reference to the regulations that have been released by the International Paralympic Committee. So there is the wheelchair tennis singles world ranking. So that's number 1 to 40 in the world. And that's for the male athletes, not otherwise qualified on the wheelchair tennis singles world ranking list dated 7th June. So 40 athletes for the men's competition. Then you've got the top 22 ranked eligible female athletes on the world tennis singles world ranking list. And that's the one that's going to be dated on the 7th of June 2021. And then you've got the top 12 ranked quad athletes on wheelchair tennis singles world ranking. If Basically, by looking at the qualification criteria that has been given, you mentioned earlier that you would like to see them create the points. How many athletes, considering that it's 4 of every gender per country that are allowed, how many athletes do you see having a chance to qualify for Tokyo?
For Tokyo, from now till 7th June, I believe we can have a maximum of 6 players for us in the country. Because if, for example, our top player, we have Jane at 100 ranking, and if we get these points in Villamor, it will push her all the way to around 60. Then we get another team for the team event. It will push her all the way to around 20. Then if we can get at 2 or 3 tournaments on the way here, for sure, we'll have locked the points. So for us, it is all about the tactical objective of us is now to get all these points to qualify. So I know with these 2 events that will get in Villamor, we can get maximum points, which will push our players to the top 30 or 20 in the world. Then they have to go for other tournaments in Italy and Croatia. End of May, we'll have enough points.
Now, the other qualification criteria that has been put up is the bipartite commission, where 14 eligible male athletes will be considered by the IPC and the ITF bipartite commission invitation slots, and the invitation allocation is 14 for men, 8 for female, and 4 in the quad sport class. Any indication from the National Paralympic Committee that you could be going for the bipartite commission invitations?
Yes, but at the moment, before applying for that, we have to see what happens in this event. Because the winners of the World Team Cup will so before applying for bipartisan, we just have to make sure that we qualify direct, because now when you apply for this, it's now fingers crossing and praying to God that that maybe we might be considered. So instead of waiting for us to be considered, we work with God and qualify directly.
All right. Now let's talk about the World Team Cup qualification, the format, and really what it means for the growth of the sport in the country, and also the opportunities for our wheelchair tennis players.
Yes, the World Team Cup, we've been hosting it here in Kenya for the past 8 years. For the past 8 years, the qualifying ground for Africa region. So it's only this year that it has been put out, and we thank God because we've qualified 3 times. Qualified as a country to go and represent Africa. So we know that we have the capability to do that. So for the World Team Cup, whoever qualifies in that one will have to go to Sardinia for the World Team Championships.
All right. Now, representing Africa at the World Team Championships, ideally this would be like, how would I call it? This is like the World Cup of wheelchair tennis. The kind of support that you would need going through for what's going to be taking place in Sardinia, that would be Palermo, and then later in Croatia, so as to reap the maximum points available for Tokyo qualification.
Yes. First of all, I really like to thank Tennis Kenya and the government and Ministry of Sports, through the Ministry of Sport. They've really supported us, and we are looking forward to giving them now the correct present or just a gift of a thank you by us qualifying. That's the best gift. You know, when someone gives you something, then you appreciate it in a good way. They feel like now they can put more. So for us, it is also a motivation that if the ministry has supported us, if the government has supported wheelchair tennis until now through Tennis Kenya, then that means if we work harder, they'll keep on supporting the wheelchair tennis more or even further than this. So for us, it is all about now all Kenyans to pray for the team, and any stakeholders who would wish to support wheelchair tennis can go through Tennis Kenya and please support. Because now for us, as a coach, we feel like we also need some other upcoming players, because we have junior Olympics, we have junior Grand Slams, we have junior all those things. But now, since at the moment we only have more of these senior players than junior players who are serious in the game. Because now for the juniors, there's the issue of transport, there's the issue of accommodation sometimes, there's the issue of facilities, wheelchairs, although sometimes as a federation, it is too much, it needs more support. So it is all support from fans, from the schools, from Tennis Kenya, from all stakeholders. Because now for juniors, it is a bit because now for seniors themselves, you engage them, then they come and they train. But now for juniors, you have to go through parents, and some of these parents have not accepted their kids to do sports. They feel that issue of, my daughter or my son, not yet. I don't want him or her to be involved or to be included in some other stuff. They only want them on their sides. So it is all about also now educating our fellow parents, because I'm a parent as well, on how to come up together. Even when you guys are at home, any person with disability, please do not put them aside, do not isolate them. People should know that they're also human beings and they're capable of doing even sports the same way able-bodied are doing. I've been coaching wheelchair tennis for a while, and I understand. I've seen different disabilities, and now on a personal note, I understand how they are and how they feel sometimes if somebody maybe sees them. How can they play? Like, for example, there was a time we went to train, and some guys came, we want to see, I've never seen a person with disability playing wheelchair tennis. How can you play wheelchair tennis? And they were amazed with how these guys were hitting those balls. They were being they can't fall. So this thing is just now more outreach to people, Yes.
All right, and Jane, I've had Coach Peter Rakuom speak about getting more young players into the sports. How much is the current crop of wheelchair tennis players doing to ensure that there is continuity so that we don't have a case of one-hit wonders in the sport?
Yeah, thank you so much. That's one of the areas that I can say our heart as Tennis Kenya is. I'm sitting at the council, Tennis Kenya Council, and that's the only one thing that we are sleeping on. And already before Corona came, we've already started the junior development program, where we start going to Thika School for, not Thika, really Joytown, where we have physical disability, different type of disabilities. Then we started training or having camps at Machakos, Basaku School for the disabled in Machakos. That we had it on Thursdays and Saturdays. But when Corona came, now we stopped because we can't go to school, we are not allowed. But already working in school just to recruit young juniors, because we really need young juniors. Just as you said, I've played tennis for 12, this is my 10th year. And maybe I will say, oh, now I need to retire. Who will take that part again? So we are thinking on that basis, that when we leave, like 4 of us leave, like 4 men leave, who will take it next? So we have that in place, very well organized, very well put in place. Like now, if you go to Masaku School for the Disabled, you'll find that we have more than 20-something juniors. You go to Joytown, we have more like 30. So, and then we are going to Kisumu, we want to go to Kiambu, not Kiambu really, we want to go to Embu. We already had contact. We are going to, I've said Kisumu, Vihiga, and we have Machakos, we have Joytown, we have Kisumu. We are planning to go to Embu. Already we have Mombasa. By the way, we have 3 that already started. We have Mombasa, we have Joytown, we have Machakos. So the 3 already, if you're talking about juniors, we have more than like 50 juniors. We're just waiting for the corona issue to just cool a little bit, or we are allowed to go to schools. Then by next year, a time like this, or even mid-year, because within the course of this year, when the government will open, or we'll see how to go to schools and start training, because we've already taken the wheelchairs. ITF, International Tennis Federation, always give wheelchairs. And we've already given 5 wheelchairs to Machakos. We've already given 5 wheelchairs to Joytown. We've already given, this includes balls and rackets. So we've already supplied all the equipments to these schools. So we're waiting to start in Kisumu, Embu, and Vihiga, Kakamega County, and any other county that we will sit down and see. We want wheelchair to go. We are not only want in Nairobi and Mombasa. As to you about earlier. Right now we are trying to just work together with the sustainable goal of 2030, where inclusion is a very important component in everything that you are doing. Like for instance, we want to start working with the way you've asked the question about juniors. We want to start working with parents with children with disabilities. This is where we find issues. You find a parent, they don't want to let go. If our parents, for instance, take example, if my parent could not allow me to do something that my heart desired, I couldn't be here right now talking to you, Daniel. But if we teach them with example, like for instance, now we turn to be the motivators, we turn to be we inspire them of what we've done and what we're achieving. And then when we put it into practice, we just tell them, bring them. We'll pay for them. Right? For instance, sometimes you just need to sacrifice. Someone once said, you can be a champion, yes, but what is that champion helping you with? Are you bringing it back to the community? Are you helping? Are you even touching a soul with your championship? Or being a champion is just good for you? And then he concluded by saying, you are a champion, but who cares if you're not using that champion in a good way? So as Tennis Kenya, even us as athletes, we always sit down and analyze and we say, yes, we play tennis for 10 years. What can we bring back to the society? And those are the things that we are strategizing to see that even after Villamora, even after the entire this year is finished, what have we done to a society? Are we going back there even to have to talk to a child or change a life, such things? So for wheelchair tennis, it's already in place, Daniel. We are working on it, and already I can tell you we have juniors. It's only a matter of going back to normal, which I don't know when. But if not, we will live with this normal. We'll just see how we will bring them back and train them, and we'll start moving forward. Yeah.
Ndenga, who is a wheelchair tennis and sits on the Tennis Kenya Council, and Coach Peter Rakuom, who is a coach of the wheelchair tennis team. Thank you very much. And as you go to Portugal, we wish you all the best and hope to see you move up the rankings and also qualify for the Paralympics.